now. And looks like we're ready to begin with our Battle of the Concepts. So we're going to do all the teams out of order because some teams are coming in late, some teams are starting. But I think we're going to start with Team 5 first. So let's all give a warm welcome to Team 5. Just let me... Oops. There you go.
Great, thank you.
Oh, sorry. It's already on the other screen.
Yeah. How do I switch between slides?
Just click over here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, so this is Team 5. So for our game, we have a very chill, relaxing game. We were hoping to make something kind of similar to Animal Crossing, where you're able to spawn on a home planet, and from there we wanted to implement the idea that you'd be able to travel to other planets where you'd be able to get different kind of resources, where you'd be able to meet other NPCs who we might call villagers that you can meet and saving interact with. We were probably thinking of making it a 2D kind of pixel-like game. This way we can add a couple more functions with saving a bit on art. So the main premise of the game is you're able to harvest materials such as wood, stone. You're able to farm, planting wheat and stuff like that, and you're able to harvest that to get materials. Using that, you're able to craft. So we were also hoping to implement fishing, because we thought that'd be a really cool idea where you can fish for certain fish, and you'd be able to sell those to villagers, whatnot. So we also wanted to kind of add the idea of currency. So by selling certain fish, for example, that are more rare, you might be able to gain more money, and through using that money, you can customize your character, or you can customize your house, such as buying new furniture, buying new clothing for your character. One idea for furniture that we thought was really cool was the idea of an aquarium, where you're able to buy an aquarium and essentially fish that you catch, if you want to keep them instead of selling them. Well, I mean, also you're able to cook them or just whatever, but we also thought it'd be really cool if you could put the fish inside of the aquarium, and through that you'd be able to interact with the aquarium and kind of just see all the rare fish that you've captured so far. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's a couple of the concept art that we've developed for some of our villagers. We thought that these would be pretty cool and unique. We like the idea that through different planets you're able to see different kind of villagers, and that also lets us just kind of explore a bit more ideas. Here are a couple more. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, are there any other teams that have to leave soon and would like to present next? All right. Any teams that are ready to present, want to go up next and present theirs? I've got a couple loaded up. Yeah, come on. Which team are you?
14.
14. Did you send me your slides?
We don't have slides.
Oh, okay, perfect. Here you go. Oh, and the mic's there.
Oh, okay. Hello, I'm Anya. We're from Team 14, and excuse our lack of slides. It has been midterm week, but our game concept is going to be a sort of cooking simulator. So imagine you're a culinary student and you're in the middle of your midterms, very based on real life, I guess, and you're not getting a lot of sleep because you're doing a lot of studying. So when you do get sleep, it's really restless and you start sleepwalking. So basically, our game is going to be a cooking simulator where the main character is sleepwalking, and it's going to have controls similar to Surgeon Simulator. So you kind of have to use all your fingers on the keyboard and try to pick things up that way. But we're also going to have the antagonist of the kitchen rats, who are going to try to mess up your cooking recipes and try to steal your ingredients. Yeah, I think that's all. You're going to just be trying to follow the recipes that we set out in your grandmother's cooking book. And yeah, there's a lot of ways to screw up. It's going to be similar to Cooking Mama in the way that you're ranked. Yeah, I think that's all.
All right, awesome. All right, which team wants to go next? And if no team volunteers, then I'll pick out a team from the list of slides I got here. Oh, yeah, come on down. Awesome. Or whoever I pointed to, yeah. All right, here you go.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh,
How
here.
should I?
Oh, is this a U Team 9?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the only Team 9 member here. Shout out to everyone else in Team 9. I don't know where they are, but. Okay, hi, hello. We're Team 9. Wait, how? Do I just click the little buttons and I can just pass this on? Wait. Ooh, I can use the mouse. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi. We're Team 9. Our game is called Cybercision. And so the elevator actually, wait, here's our team first. Here's all the cool people here. Here's Colin, our team leader. Ali is a programmer. Daryl's another programmer. Elsa's an artist. Emma's an artist. Harry's another programmer. That's me. I'm the audio guy. There's Michelle, the programmer, and Zoe, who's a writer. Apologies for the dog pictures. They didn't send a profile picture fast enough, so that sucks, but on them. Here's the elevator pitch. It's a cyberpunk, story-rich shopkeeper game where the player performs surgery on cybernetic humans. So it's going to be 2D, where it's just imagine like Papers, Please, but it's set in a sci-fi universe, and it's really we want to enrich you in the cyberpunk world where these different patients are coming up to you with their different like cybernetic limbs and they're damaged. And while it can be similar to something like Trauma Center on the DS, where it's like actual real life patients, and you have to fix real life arms, which is lame. Here we get to fix robot arms, which is cool, right? So we thought that was a unique idea. So the player can interact through like mini games, and instead of like learning how legs and arms function and how blood works, you can figure out how robot chips work and how cyber legs work. And all of that is on top of how the patients interact with you and how you're learning about the world as well. And so the gameplay loop so far is that one is that the patient just like comes up to you and it's like, hey, my arm's broken or something. And so there's dialogue with the patient, and then the surgery happens where you're actually performing mini games on the cybernetic limbs. And then after that, there's a debrief, which is another dialogue sequence. And then the patient leaves, and then you're free for a bit for the rest of the day to interact with the lore of the world. We're really interested in getting you immersed with the world. Everyone on the team is really interested in making sure that you understand the characters, the factions, the stories. We really want you to feel like this is a whole other universe. It's like Cyberpunk 2077, but without the bugs. So, yeah. Here's some concept art that artists have been working on, like some background. We really focus on like having a diverse color palette, making it like really pop out. And the shopkeeper, the area that the player will be in the slums. So when the player will look up towards the night city, it'll be very bright and neon. When they look around towards the slums, they'll be reminded of like where they are in the world. And here's some more concept art for characters. This is mainly designed for like the shopkeeper, what the shopkeeper would look like, and over there is what maybe a patient would look like. And like if you've ever watched Edge Runners, the new show, that cybernetic spine and how it like malfunctions over throughout the show, that's how we imagine the injuries would go, and how it's something that the player would repair. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, who's going next? Got a volunteer? Yep, come on. Team 2. Come on down, Team 2. Here we go. Oh, no. Awesome.
All right, great. So, to start things off, our project, we've given it an alpha name. It's called Project Melatonin. How do I get this to...
It's on that screen, so you just click on it. Yeah,
All right, so to start, I'll ask an opening question. How many of you guys have had sleepless nights where you've just lied in bed until 3 a.m. and you just can't sleep? Raise your hand. Fantastic. That's exactly what we're looking for. University students go through a lot of stress, and so I think it's very relatable to just explore a game about trying to get to sleep when you really should be going to sleep. So our main character, our story would be like a visual novel-esque style. It'll be focused on like a slice of life of a main character. It'll be basically summarized in 3 acts. Our first act is our main character is a year 1 student, like most of us on our team, and basically they're trying to get into university, but they are dealing with a lot of pressure, like especially pressure of being independent, midterms, exams, projects. Act 2 will add a little bit of spice to it. Perhaps the main character meets someone that is to their interest, and they can't stop thinking of them, even when they're trying to sleep. There might be an exam tomorrow, but man, she's whew. And finally, our Act 3 finale will be all determined on how well our players respond to the story and the decisions that they make while trying to get our character to fall asleep.
Here, I'll get rid of that bubble.
And so this story will be basically like a choose-your-own-adventure sort of style, visual novel. They'll have multiple endings that you can pursue, as well as different secrets that you can unlock. Currently, we have a couple of character art here. We've got Mercury, Lilac, and perhaps a third empty character. Basically, we'll be checking in on their lives every now and then and seeing how their university life is progressing. So here are the gameplay elements. Basically, it's a little bit paranormal because we come into these characters' lives exactly at around 12 a.m. in the evening. We don't know why, but we come in and we basically just take over their lives for just a short amount of time to help them get to sleep. During the day, we have no idea what goes on, but during the night, when the character's trying to go to sleep, we get to interact with their thoughts, we get to look at their thoughts, and we get to see what's going on. This is just some concept art of their rooms, and here is our very, very beta testing for our gameplay elements. Basically, there will be thoughts that appear inside the character's head that the player will control this sprite to try and avoid these thoughts, maybe like a horde-like game, or maybe even like bullet hell sort of. And if you get hit by a thought, you will start thinking it, and that will be the visual novel storytelling element. And so there might be a trade-off, because if you get hit by a storytelling element, which is like a thought, you will lose sleep, and perhaps it'll go to 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. You know how things go. But if you go to sleep too early, you might not know too much about the character themselves. And how much sleep you get determines your energy for the next day. So this allows you to do certain activities, like do well on a test, or maybe even ask someone out for something. And we have a couple of music here, but I won't make you guys listen to it. And thank you. That's basically our game.
Awesome. Looks amazing. All right. So, who's next? Let's see which team wants to go next. Oh, that's Team 5 up there. All right. Oh, Team 4? Oh, oops. Yeah, I'm in Team 4. Let me quickly double check and make sure the recording's still working, and it looks like it is. All right. Here you go.
Thank you. And mouse to click.
Yeah, you should just have to click it.
Cool. All right, hello everybody. I'm going to talk to you about our very basic concept for what the game is. We've been spending a while fleshing out the story of this game and the world that it's going to be set in. So I'm here to share that with you today. The basic concept of this game is you are going to wake up as a character with no memories. You basically have amnesia in a very alien environment. You're going to be in the midst of a crashed ship of some sort, and exploring around, you'll find that you're on a planet that is very unfamiliar to you, and perhaps a little bit hostile towards you. This is some inspirational art that we found online that we've been using to kind of drive the main concepts of this game. But you're going to, explore around the ship, start to move out into the world and find these crazy biomes and different resources that you can find. And as you progress through the gameplay, you'll start to see a bit of survival-like game. So you'll travel around collecting different resources from different biomes, using what you can from the ship's wreck to craft new tools that get other resources. And as you do that, one of the main focuses will be trying to find what happened, trying to reclaim your memories and figure out what put you on this planet. You may find some dark story elements coming up, like corpses of crewmates that may have been on that ship with you but died in the crash. And there's gonna be a lot of mystery involved. You're gonna try and figure out what occurred that caused you to land on this random planet. The planet itself is gonna have a very beautiful but also dangerous theme. We're thinking of having it orbit around a neutron star, so there's going to be a lot of weird gravitational effects and visual effects that you're going to encounter. There's going to be a very large theme of isolation and the idea that you need to work for yourself to just survive. And sooner or later, you'll start to realize you're not actually completely alone on this planet, but in the worst way possible, because you're going to find certain apex predators that may have cleared off this planet and its former inhabitants. And then for our art style, we're taking inspiration from games like Don't Starve Together. So hopefully we'll be able to use 2D sprites to represent the characters, all of the biomes and monsters you'll find, but in a 3D environment. So you'll be able to explore all around the world. You won't feel like you're limited to side-scroller-esque styles. I've heard that referred to as 2.5D. And that's about the concept. Are there any questions about what the game might be? Yeah, go ahead.
Sounds like quite big in scope.
Yes, for sure. Yes, that's one of the reasons why we've stayed so focused on the idea right now. We're going to try and whittle down the theme into a very concrete story. But the main idea is, instead of focusing on the survival element, it's going to be hitting story checkpoints and just focusing on surviving to get to those checkpoints. But we'll have a very clear story that will eventually reach a conclusion. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. All right, who's next? What team will volunteer next? Come on down. 3? Awesome. There you go.
Thank you, sir. All right. So our game is called Project Room, tentatively, right now. And the sort of elevator pitch is it's an escape room style game that takes place in one evolving room. And what do we mean by that? Well, basically, you're going to be in a room, and it's going to start very simple, both graphically and complexity in the puzzles. And as you progress, the graphics are going to become more clear, the puzzles are going to become more complex, and you'll keep moving on. But there is a little bit of intrigue here. You as the player are playing an AI gaining sentience, a learning AI. That's why the world is becoming more clear as you go. You're actually gaining awareness of everything. But as the visuals change, things start to get a little eerie. Puzzles that seem very simple suddenly take on new meaning. You might be forced into weird moral situations by some mysterious kind of experimenter that's directing all of this for you. And that's why we sort of tag the tones as unsettling, grim, and philosophical. For the first part of the game, it's very much going to be a puzzle game, and in the latter half, we're going to sort of delve into the weirdness that's going on around it. And to talk about the gameplay more concretely, I have...
Thanks. Yeah, so I will be doing a quick walkthrough of the first gameplay sequence that you see when you load up the game. And so when you wake up, all you can see is this very minimalistic, mysterious setup, and you will have one objective to guide you in solving the puzzle. And so we had this idea of making the initial visuals very limited. You can see they're black and white. completely solid and simple geometry, and this will offer the potential for deception later on. As the world gets more clear, you might realize that some of the puzzles you were solving before were actually like you doing some very creepy things without having an awareness of what it is that you're actually doing. And so the game will also have a minimal UI to heighten the sense that your perspective is limited and that you're completely without help in this world. And so in the first puzzle, you'll be tested for simple reasoning by this experimenter. And so from a gameplay perspective, it's supposed to get the player used to taking things apart and having a second look at their surroundings. And so the player can mouse over objects in front of them for clues, and they will use point and click to interact. So in the puzzle, the player will need to look on the back of this loose box for a clue. Then they will need to move 3 fuses out of their inventory into the slots in the correct order that was listed on the back of the box. And lastly, they will need to pull a switch. And so this is a very simple first puzzle, but after solving the puzzle, we'll get into our main gameplay loop where the visuals are slightly clearer, the player will be able to move, and they will progress through a series of puzzles with new objectives given by the experimenter that are provided to sort of help them grow their intelligence. And finally, here's a mock-up of what we imagine the game might look like when it's well underway. The background is just a stock image. But every time the objective is reached, as we said, the room that you see will change and reveal a whole new set of clues. And so our hope is to give players a bit of an unsettling feeling, to make them think this was here all along, and to hopefully deliver a short but compelling story surrounding the fate of this AI. Thank you for listening.
Awesome, thank you very much. All right. So, which team wants to go next? Awesome. Sorry, I saw hand up there first. Come on down. Which team are you? 13. Did you send me any? Oh. What you said, team 13?
Yep.
How did you send it to me?
Did you send it by email?
Email?
I think you should have labeled it Team 13. That was on me.
Uh.
Oh my god.
Do you need, like, is there any keyword that you can search up?
I haven't gotten an email since 8 a.m. I don't think.
Come on. I swear I put it. And that did not work.
Could you share it with me in a
Okay.
Google?
Check. We're doing. There it is.
There it is. Perfect.
This one, I'm not sure if it's.
I know.
It's really overwhelming.
Imagine being the prof.
All right.
Oh, the first?
There we go.
Hey guys, we're Team 13, and this is our project. We're calling it Project Wild, game name pending. Did not know there was a keyword name for that earlier, so that was pretty interesting to know. Where's the thing? I need that. We don't need to do an introduction. Okay, well, if we want to do it, so we have our artists. We have artists, we have our programmer, who's over there. We also have our music person and our audio person and our story writer, both of which are not here, but they had midterms. We all have midterms. It's midterm season. We didn't need to click it. So, our game basically tells of the story of a, kind of like your average adventure game, except in this case we are changing up the game mechanics with a gravity function. So the story is that he saves the world from these demons that appeared after a gravity spell went wrong, and all of these characters that you will meet from these different kingdoms are all dealing with how to move again as this mysterious force is pushing and pulling on them, and all while dealing with this civil war due to the fact that the king mysteriously died. So, fun fact, this game actually did have a paper form, and this can be played now and, as quick few rules, but it's an idea that I worked on a while ago. The goal is actually to make this game reality through virtual so that everyone could play it and it could be more complex. So, you guys want to explain how the game works?
I feel like you're more familiar with the game.
Fair enough. Okay, so how does this game work? So, again, due to this change in gravity, these characters are moved by a mysterious force, aka the player. Basically, everyone knows Angry Birds, right? You use your finger, you pull back, and you launch the bird into blocks of wood. Same idea, except in this case, you are launching your characters, you controlling 3 characters, and launching them through a turn-based combat game against usually another team or other opponents. So you start off with a team of 3 characters that you can control. So you pick one of the 3 you can choose, and you can launch them per turn. You also have different classes of characters. You have your warrior, you have your melee guy, you have your mage, and you also have your assassin, your tank, and we also got a new bouncy guy. That's going to be something that'll really be added into the lore and our story. The world is going to be consisting of different environments with different obstacles and different arena-specific gimmicks. Again, just to kind of highlight to highlight the lore, but also describe this world that they're in. And this also provides opportunities for different strategies for battle, such as which characters you can choose that you want to use in each combat situation. So here is our art.
Okay, so this is some of our preliminary concept art and sketches. So in the middle photo, that is going to be our main protagonist, and he's going to be like the warrior kind of all-rounder class. We wanted to kind of make him sort of a blank slate character because at the start of the game, he's kind of fresh-eyed. And then as the story progresses, we'll see how the world around him and the characters he meets shapes him and how he changes as a result of that. And so the idea is that he's from the countryside, so we kind of stuck to sort of earthly colors, using like leather and metal, and then having red be his accent. And then on the right you can see like kind of an idea of how his in-game model will look like when he's like being launched. And then on the left, this is another character in progress. He is going to be our custom bouncy class, which is a class that we created. So he's kind of modeled after a monkey, and we decided to give him sort of flowy clothes, and then also he is going to be connected somehow to the mysterious spell that caused the gravity issues in the first place.
And the character on the right is probably going to be one of the mage class, and here's some concept art for it. So essentially the idea is that for us artists, we chose a beagle because it's considered as one of the most loyalist of dogs. And despite its really cute design, apparently we've researched a bit on it, and beagles surprisingly bite a lot. So it's always create that sense of like character, like, well, not dynamic, but like kind of opposites with it, because how like this mage class, or this dog has like a scarf of him where if you take him off, essentially he releases a sort of like berserker mode on his opponents. And we try to incorporate the theme of essentially like playing with gravity and like seeing what kind of magic powers he can do by just kind of testing out the waters to see like perhaps even like purple aura kind of like floating, like kind of making a dog float and stuff like that. So yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's actually all. Oh yeah.
Cool.
And that is pretty much all we got. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Can we do a high five?
All right. So, yep, you guys got your hands up. Feel free to come on down. Which team are you? Okay. Okay, no worries. Then I'm just gonna set this to blank.
Okay.
Okay, hello everybody. So this is Team 10, and this year we're going to make a top-down 2D roguelike procedurally generated dungeon crawler shooter. Well, that's a very low mouse roll. So basically, what we're doing is we're taking Binding of Isaac and we're combining it with like elements from like Bloodborne, like sort of like eldritch, unknowable beings that are like kind of like corrupting the world and such. And so we're making a game where it's kind of like a 2D Dark Souls, but then in a roguelike setting where you have like permadeath and you have procedurally generated map where each time you die, you restart the game. The map is going to be slightly different. Every enemy you encounter, where they are, every item that you get, like every drops, every treasure chest, every location is different, so that it creates a fresh experience for each time you restart the game, instead of like sort of like the Soul series traditional fixed map where you can like keep grinding and get over it. We're aiming to make an experience that is sort of very unforgiving, because every time you die, you have to start over. But then it will be a very great achievement if you can get over the hurdle and finally manage to like beat the game. So how the game is going to work is that you progress through a sort of like dungeon kind of map, and then you defeat enemies, you collect power-ups, relics, and then each relic will have like a unique sort of effect that impacts the game. For example, you can have like an eye patch that says, well, it gives you more explosion radius, but then it like covers up half of your camera because you have an eye patch. And then, or you can have like a cybernetic hand that makes it so that you have like aim assist, but then if you use a melee weapon, it like reduces damage because it's not as good as a real hand. And then so it's stuff like that, so we make it so that you have to make conscious choices between what items, combinations you pick up, and like how you best use them in your build. It will be very much luck dependent, and sometimes RNG can be unforgiving, but sometimes when the luck just hits and the build, you just get the build just right, it's gonna be like the best like dopamine hit ever. So and then in terms of visual style, we're aiming to getting inspired from Hotline Miami. However, we're trying to make it not so like vibrant in terms of like all the colors. We want it to be a sort of more muted color, with only like few accent colors to like highlight the stuff we want the player to look at for better like visual clarity. I mean, it's I can't show an image because midterm season, and yeah. And then, so in terms of like just like the sort of story setting of the game, it's gonna be inspired by like conspiracy series. So eventually we want to expand the game so that you can fight through like enemies. Like what if like the government is actually controlled by lizard people, or the pyramids was built by ancient aliens, and then you uncover those sort of mysteries of the world as you go through. And maybe each game, each replay of the game is going to be like a different story, where like the final boss could be either like Elon Musk is actually a lizard, or like Cthulhu himself, right? And so yeah, that's pretty much our game. Any questions? Yes?
In your opinion.
Sorry, what?
In your opinion, is Elon actually a lizard?
That is debatable. I mean, if you just if you just look at his record, I mean, it's pretty sus. It looks like what I would do if I'm playing GTA with cheat codes. Yeah.
No other questions? Then awesome.
All right, thank you.
Great job. All right. Who's going next? Oh, yep. Come on. Yep. There we go. Start slideshow.
And sorry, clicking with just the mouse, or?
Yep. You can just click with the mouse, or this should also work. Yeah, it does. Sorry.
No worries.
Why you spoiled the surprise? No, whenever you're ready to go.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today we'll be presenting the concept for Group 12. Just a slight overview of what we'll be covering. We'll go over the concept, some of the gameplay, and then some of our major sources of inspiration for this game. Overall, our concept is your user or your player is down in their luck, is wandering around, he's a former detective, just traveling the continent, looking for a crime to solve, looking for people to help, and basically exploring the world by talking to the townsfolk and exploring the land that they've come across.
So we had a really fun time looking at inspiration for the games. We had a lot of games that we kind of wanted to pull inspiration from. So essentially, essentially what we did is we looked in Steam and we found a bunch of the common tags, and they actually fit kind of our idea quite well. So the tags to our game would kind of be like RPG, mystery, puzzle, detective kind of game. So that's kind of like our direction.
Sorry.
It's back to me. All right. So something that kind of like showcases the idea and sort of mood of the game is our mini-game style travel mechanic where you're traveling between areas. So we kind of want it to be sort of like the kind of thing where you're dodging around barriers and objects, sort of think like Temple Run or Subway Surfers. And it's just sort of like an in-between thing where you're kind of jumping around. And an idea that we have is actually switching perspectives. So normally our game is going to be top-down, but we're thinking maybe we switch it up and have it side-scrolling, so to make it more like a platform as you're jumping around. So it's kind of an idea for that.
I think I missed a slide. I think I missed a slide.
No, you're good. Oh yeah.
And then at the start of our game, we're going to have a bunch of different people you can select from. Who do you want to play as in this game? And depending on the character that you select, you get a different starting bonus or different ability throughout the game. So that way, if you do replay the game, you can have a slightly different journey every time. So some potential character bonuses that you could have is that you could bribe townsfolk, be able to pick locked doors in the game, or just make it so that the townsfolk can't lie to you about the mysteries that you're trying to solve.
Alrighty, so this is some of the aforementioned inspirations. So for Paladin design, we looked a lot at like Ashmere, Celeste, Hollow Knight, Overcooked, Intergalactic. Just like really, we wanted the colors to kind of pop, and we wanted there to be a lot of contrast, but we also kind of are interested in keeping things simplistic so that the player doesn't get a headache from looking at all the intense detail. So for game design, you can see West of Loathing, Stardew Valley, and LA Noire. So more like casual gameplay, but also, especially like in the case of Stardew Valley, for example, there's so much mystery and areas of the game that you can flesh out that you never would have guessed from just like your first 3 hours of playing it. So yeah, and then we've got mini game, as I said, Subway Surfer, Temple Run. We want to sort of bring in those sort of like really just fun, casual, time waster games as well, just to give our players, I don't know, a little dopamine hit, I suppose. Yeah. Alrighty, thank you for listening, everybody.
All right, awesome. Okay, so which team is going next? We've gone through quite a few, but I think we still got a couple left. Yep, come on down.
But can we use the document camera? Just to
Yeah,
illustrate our
sure, definitely.
idea,
We'll have to figure it out though.
Yeah. Oh wait, I forgot my phone. Do you have one?
Just go.
Okay.
Yep.
Which one?
So we're on projector 3, and then change it to document camera 2. Yeah.
Yep. It won't be on the recording, but that is okay.
You want the light kind of in it like that, or because there's the overhead light for now.
Right. Maybe just tilt it.
Away, or?
Yeah, if you are on a screen, then you probably don't want the overhead light.
Yeah. Or we need like a second light. So
Oh, okay.
when you do that,
Alright.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we are like team 7. Yeah, we're team 7, and then our idea is more towards like shadows instead of the actual like players themselves. So imagine this: like as a kid, we're always afraid of the dark. We're afraid of the dark because there are like mysteries, maybe like there are unknown things that are in the dark, right? Whenever you go to sleep, there might be like monsters sort of that haunt you. So our idea is that you as a main character is a kid, and you have to fight your inner demons by fighting the monsters who only live in the shadow realm. So you yourself obviously also has a shadow, and the idea of this game is you can control where your light is, therefore controlling where your shadow is. And you use your shadow to fight the monsters in your head, which are obviously shadows themselves. So the monsters, they don't really have a physical body, but they do have shadows. And that's the only way that you can defeat them and fight your inner demons. So let me illustrate the point. Let's say this is the player, right? And you can see there's the shadow, right? But obviously here, I think there are two light sources. So you do see like two shadows here. And the idea is, whenever you do some action, your shadow will do the same action, except with this different position that's like on the ground instead of on your physical body. Let's say if I have if I have like a sword or some kind, like I don't have a sword, like, I don't have a third hand, so so if you have a sword of some kind, it would also have a shadow, right? And that's how you use it to your advantage to fight the monsters. Let's say if there's a monster coming here with a shadow, and you can just swing your sword to attack them. And that is the idea. And basically, as a kid, you don't want the darkness to get to you, obviously. And so the monsters are trying to get into your head, and therefore into your physical body, which is kind of like a dream that you're in. That is this game. So you're trying to fight them, but obviously you can only fight them through your shadow, and they're trying to get to you, to your actual body. So, and in terms of gameplay, is it basically a dungeon? So you go through each room, and at the beginning, before the monsters do come in, you have a few seconds to set up. Basically, just going through like the structure of the game, structure of the room, and maybe also setting up where your light would be for the most optimal position. And remember that you may have multiple light sources like later on, but you might only have one light source in the beginning, which means that the positioning is very important, especially that you have the ability to reposition them during your run. So let's say if an enemy is coming this way, right? And your light source is like here, which means that you can only attack them from this side. But if they're coming like from here, then you might want to readjust your light so your shadow casts this way in order to hit them. So that is the idea. Like you have to be strategic about your positioning of the light in order to better like defeat your enemies. So that's all. Thank you for listening.
Awesome, pretty cool. All right. So, which teams are left? We've made it through quite a few of them. Come on down. No slides? Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Pedro, I'm from Team 11, and before I start talking about my game, I'm going to be doing a little thought experiment with everyone. So imagine that after we listen to all the amazing pitches and we're about to leave this place, everyone receives a message in their phones. This time is not just a normal message from a friend, but a message from the government of Canada. We are from now on in lockdown, and there's a very, very contagious disease outside that is very dangerous that we should not get in contact with. This time is not COVID. It's we start looking in the web and we find that it's actually zombies. It's the classic movie thing that now has come to life. Soon thereafter, we get another message, this time an email from the UBC itself. And the heads decided that instead of just covering around and going home and staying locked inside, we will do more. We are already in a place that is already surrounded by the sea and separate from the town itself, and we have some of the brightest minds in the world. So why not try to strive for more, like in a true UBC sense? So we're gonna ball ourselves off and try to do more than just survive this apocalypse. And this is the setting for our game. You as the player will go around, you'll be seeing a 2D pixel art environment, helping each of the faculties that have shifted their focus from learning to specific goals. So like the architecture and the engineers are going to be working in infrastructure, the comp sci and the electrical engineers are working in robots to kill the zombies, and solar students are going to be coloring their coloring books and all they do. So the actual gameplay is going to be separated into a whole year. Every single day there's a limited amount of time, so you have to keep in mind that your decisions actually matter, and you have to help people out and also keep yourself sane. So, and just like, because like any other student, you have your mental health, you have your physical health that you have to keep and maintain. Throughout the year there are going to be different events that are going to pop up, either external things, like very traditional things with a little twist this time. And the entire game is going to be focused on the mini games for helping those faculties. Each faculty is going to have a different one. They're going to be harder and harder as you progress and achieve their respective goals. And you'll also be able to interact with the NPCs, either tied to the faculties themselves or just fellow students that are trying to survive. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Any teams left that haven't presented yet? Does that mean that we have no more presentations, or all the teams, no one left to present? Because I think we might just have one more team, Team 3. But I think they aren't here yet. They mentioned that they'd be here around 7. So if there are no more other teams here that haven't presented yet, then what I think we're going to do is we'll have a quick 10-minute kind of recess where you guys can go and talk, hang out, like a quick break, and then we'll come back, and if any teams arrive after 7, we'll quickly do their presentations, and then that'll be it. Oh, yeah? Oh, okay, never mind then. Oh, you're right, we already did present Team 3. Oh, okay. Never mind then. Then looks like they got here earlier. Okay, so if that's pretty much it, then I think that's it for the Battle of the Concepts. Thank you everyone so much for coming. Thank you to the teams, because those games are absolutely amazing. I'm super excited to see them all, kind of go forward. So now most teams have their concepts pretty well in there, and they're going to start pretty soon on the actual technical development, making all the stuff, if you haven't already. So if you guys do run into any problems, with technical stuff, don't know how to do things, need help with certain things, don't be afraid to ask your team lead to reach out to us and the club and the VP team leads to see if we can come and help, because all those game ideas were really awesome and I want to see them all become real games. All right, thank you all so much for coming, and I'll see you next week, probably.